Rick Ross stood backstage, eyes closed, letting the low hum of strings tuning wash over him like a memory. 20 years. It felt unreal. 2 decades since Port of Miami first hit the streets, since his voice, deep, commanding, unmistakable, began echoing through cars, clubs, and corners around the world. Tonight wasn't just another show. This was something bigger. Something timeless. When he opened his eyes, the scene before him was unlike anything he had ever experienced. A full orchestra sat poised under soft golden lights, violins tucked under chins, cellos resting like old friends, brass gleaming with quiet confidence. Behind them stood a choir dressed in black, still and powerful. Like a storm waiting to rise. This wasn't just hip-hop anymore. This was history meeting legacy. Ross adjusted his suit, a rich, velvet black that carried the weight of the moment. He had performed on the biggest stages, but tonight carried a different kind of pressure, not fear, but meaning. Every lyric he would deliver had lived a life of its own over the past 20 years. People had grown with his music, built dreams to it, survived through it. And now, he was about to give those songs a new soul. The curtain lifted slowly, a wave of sound rose as the orchestra began, soft at first, a gentle swell of strings that reimagined the opening of Hustlin'. The familiar rhythm transformed into something cinematic. Almost sacred. The crowd, thousands strong, erupted in recognition. But just as quickly, they fell into a stunned silence, listening, absorbing. This was not the version they knew. This was something deeper. Rick Ross stepped into the light, every step felt deliberate, grounded. When he finally raised the microphone, the choir joined in, layered harmonies lifting the beat into something spiritual. And when Ross delivered his first line, it didn't just land, it echoed. It traveled through violins, through voices, through hearts. The audience didn't just hear him, they felt him. Song after song unfolded like a story being retold in a new language. Push It carried a dramatic intensity with pounding drums and sharp brass stabs. Aston Martin music became almost angelic, the choir turning the hook into a soaring anthem that felt like it belonged in the heavens. Even the hardest tracks gained a new kind of elegance, proving that the core of his music had always been bigger than genre. Between songs, Ross spoke, not as the larger-than-life figure people saw in videos, but as a man reflecting on the journey. He talked about the early days, about believing in himself when few others did, about the risks, the losses, the wins. His voice carried gratitude, pride, and something softer, humility. This album, he said at one point, looking out at the sea of faces, changed my life. But more importantly, it connected me to all of you. The crowd answered with a roar that felt like thunder. As the night built toward its climax, the orchestra grew bolder, the choir louder, the energy undeniable. Then came the final performance, Hustlin', the song that started it all. But this time, it wasn't just a street anthem. It was a celebration. A declaration. A full-circle moment wrapped in strings, voices, and legacy. The audience stood, hands raised, voices shouting every word back at him. It was no longer just Rick Ross performing. It was everyone, fans, musicians, voices, sharing in something that had lived for 20 years and was now reborn. As the last note rang out, the orchestra held its final chord, the choir sustaining a haunting harmony that slowly faded into silence. For a brief moment, there was nothing. Then the applause came. It wasn't just loud, it was endless. Rick Ross stood there, taking it in, breathing it all in.